Thank you for tuning in to Why Warriors. The purpose of this interview is to connect the dots between what someone does in their business with their underlying why. We like to refer to our whys as puzzle pieces. Everything that we have done that has led up to where we are today is a piece of the puzzle that makes us who we are, motivates us in our daily decisions, and is the makings of our why. We believe that to lead a life of purpose, and more importantly, to wake up in the morning, jumping out of bed with excitement about what we get to do, requires vivid clarity on your why. So let's dive in. Our guest today is Mary Kramer. Mary is uniquely gifted with the ability to see and help you feel confident and fully empowered in expressing the real you. Her joy is seeing you step into the fully empowered person you were born to be. Her intention is for you to joyfully share your specialized gifts in your unique way. Mary can help you be the authentic you, the expert in your field, the one you have longed for others to see as well. Mary, so glad to have you on the show today. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to diving a little deeper on what it is that you do and why. So welcome to the show, Mary.
Thank you, Dan. It's really a pleasure.
So why don't we start off real quick by, we've done some work together and some collaboration. So we can kind of jump right into some of the purpose stuff. So you and I think are on the same boat in terms of believing that we all have a purpose within each other, within ourselves. Share with the audience what your purpose is.
My purpose is to help people open their hearts.
Can you give us some examples of how that's done in your work today?
Opening someone's heart to me is two stages. There's the actual process of helping people feel good about themselves and communicate and find who they are and then express that outwardly. But there's also a protection that we build around our hearts that needs to be broken down as well. So there's actually two parts to it.
Okay. Um, the protection that needs to be broken down. Um, Tell me a little bit more about that.
So the protection is the part that we all deal with, which is don't say things that are going to hurt me. Um, I'm going to act a certain way, feel a certain way, talk a certain way so that I'm protected and you can't get into the vulnerable parts of who I really am and hurt me. They have to do with voices in our heads and how we perceive life. So there's an actual wall that we build to keep our light in rather than letting it shine out. And what we know is that when you learn to shine your light out, that's when the true you is showing up. And that's when people actually feel you. And that's when you're the most protected. That's kind of the irony in the whole game of life.
That is a huge irony, right? I mean, um, what serves us best, we're hiding behind, this wall that we build. Why do you think that is? Like, is it like a childhood kind of a, the way that we're brought up on in terms of be quiet and the pushing down of society? Like, why do you think that is?
I do think that's a huge part of it. I believe that we choose our birth parents, our birth time, our birthplace, our everything to support our purpose. So we get in our family and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, there is a lot to deal with in the 3D world. And so the reason we build these walls is there's so much perception going on, perception of how we view the world and how we think people view us. And then we prove it to ourselves as little as 3, 4, and 5 years old. And then, of course, as you know, 7, 8, 9. And when we go to school and people say things or our parents say things or our siblings and we're hurt and we're like, well, they don't understand me. They don't see me. They don't get me. So the walls start building brick by brick by brick.
now, with equipped with all of your experience and working with people, what advice or what would you encourage parents of children at that age? You know, understanding the things that get formed between 3 and 5 and 7 and 8. What advice or what should we look out for? What can we really do to make our children a little bit more, um, maybe different and not build those strong walls?
Boy, wouldn't it be lovely to have that opportunity again? I mean, you have younger children. Mine are adults, and
Yeah.
it's really enjoyable to share these concepts with them. But if I were to share for a parent in this now moment, to understand beliefs systems, to get educated on them, to get educated on perception, to understand that the child chose you. They they actually chose you to be as messed up as you are or messed up as you aren't, either way. In my case, I look back and I'm like, oh, how could I have um, been thinking the way I was thinking, and how could I have smothered my child with these thoughts? But those things I think are very important. And it's very important to understand that since they did choose you, that you're there to make them safe. Don't touch a hot stove. Don't run out in front of a bus, things like that. But my greatest advice would be, let your child experience who your child really is. Because this child already has your belief systems, your DNA, et cetera, all the things we're learning about in science, especially quantum science. So, what can you do to grow yourself, expand, learn about boundaries, take care of your children? But how can you encourage them to be who they are? How can you encourage them to experience life safely, of course, but not hold back, not be, like in my case, be completely quiet all the time because then I'm liked.
Hmm.
But how could I have been supported to express who I am as a young person instead of in my 50s?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a paradigm shift, I think, for a lot of parents, including myself, is that especially when you put it in those words that they chose you, right? And it's not about making them into you. It's about really allowing them to fall into who they are, right? And then I know a
Yes.
lot of cultures, there's, the children have no voice, and you toe the line, and this is what you do. And thank goodness for people like yourselves that are there out there to help them kind of open up and find that light that's within. So share with me a little bit about your own youth. Did you have any kind of discoveries, or when did you really know that wow, opening people's hearts and getting people to live their highest self and showing them the way was part of your makeup?
I wanted to go back really quickly on the comment on what you just said about how many people do you hear that say so and so is a mini me?
Hmm.
Think about that, everyone. I mean, just, it's up to you what you choose to do with that. But I know a lot of people that run around with children that say, this is my mini me. Do you really want that for your child?
Right.
So, to answer you about my childhood, w- very quickly, very artistic, very musical family. And I was the youngest, and there was a minimum 10-year separation. So I could never compete. And that's what I immediately had a perception that if I wasn't perfect starting my first ballet class, because I have sisters 10 and 11 years older who are very proficient at ballet, violin, cello, voice, piano, the list goes on. I unfortunately just gave up and became very quiet and decided that if I could accomplish anything, it would be something that they didn't do. something that I could do well right out of the gate, which is such a sad, perfectionistic, unrealistic, I could go on,
Yeah.
way to start your life. So it wasn't until Vince and I found each other 11 years ago and really had a lot of things happen in our lives that caused us to look at and start digging deep and uncovering and discovering that I started finding Mary and started finding that, oh, I do have my own talents and gifts that make me special. We're all special, but my process, how do I put my purpose, my talents and gifts, my mission all together in Mary's process? And then how do I start uncovering me? And to uncover me, it's how do I start finding all those walls and bricks and dirt and mud that I've been covering my heart with? Because if I can't shine my light out, how can you know me? How can I know me?
So along the same veins of how you said that we choose our parents, I mean, it can potentially go beyond that. You know, we could potentially choose our environment as well, to a certain extent. And the fact that you had to live this life of, you know, behind a brick wall for so many years allows you now to really break that down in a different way. You know, had you been open the whole time, you know, you might not have been able to go as deep as you are today. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, that's an interesting way of looking at it. The children today, a lot of them, the rainbows, are actually coming in with an open heart,
Mm,
but they still are 3D humans. So they they still are going to create belief systems and adopt belief systems from their parents, people of authority like teachers, etc. So isn't that an interesting concept to think about? What happens when your heart's already open, and then by 3, 4, and 5, you start getting covered up by belief systems around you. So they too will still have their journey of uncovering.
all right.
But just like your children, Dan, they're, I mean, I've had the privilege of being around them and their beautiful open hearts, but they still have belief systems that will eventually have to be looked at.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially going through school, and I mean, just interaction with the world, you know, you get labels, and you get, you know, thoughts and all these things going through their heads. I can't even imagine. Yesterday was the first day of school for them, and you know, I'm dying to talk to them, you know, about how things are going, and just kind of seeing like all these things building up in their minds, good and bad.
And what you just said right there, going back to what you asked me, what an incredible father to have had that thought that, wow, they had their first day of school yesterday, and you know what it's like, and you know what's already just day 2, what is already happening in their thoughts, right? I
Right.
mean, that what you just said was so insightful that they get to sit and talk to you now. And maybe you can really ask them some great questions. You're a great question asker, you know, ask them some great questions that will really help them realize that maybe some of the experiences they've already had in the last 2 days don't need to be piled on.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, we traveled a lot during when we were growing up, moving different countries and different schools and whatnot. And the first day of school was definitely a very nerve-wracking experience as an introvert, you know, especially in a brand new school. So I
I'm
definitely
with
feel
you.
that.
I went to a different school every year, and my parents were not in the military.
Wow.
Whew, so I hear you, and I have, such compassion for people, but the gift is I can make friends, right?
Yeah, very quickly. Yeah.
You have to.
So let's kind of jump into your work again a little bit more. So you know, we have an understanding of you know, human, the blocks, and the highest self. What's you know, what is it like working with you? What can one expect?
Well, I like to start working when you work with me. I like to start with the outside first. So your clothes.
Mm.
And it's not, I always say this, but it doesn't have to be, it can be. Your clothes don't have to be a fashionista expression. It can just be finding your vibration, your essence, your natural vibration that you let out. And then we work together to match your clothing with your vibration. And then the second part of that is we are built, every single body is built out of geometry, sacred geometry, and there is a pattern to us. So I teach you how to look at your body to find balance in it. So when people see you, their minds are not distracted by what's not quite right with this person, and then that's all they think about. Instead of listening to you and feeling you, they're looking at your outfit from head to toe. So how can we put your outfit, not only the vibration and the color, but how can we put the balance together so that when one looks at you, they look right at your face? And then there's also replication. So especially for men with eyeglasses, but with women with accessories, how do we replicate the natural features in your face with your accessories? So your accessories are complementary. And then again, the person's mind is not distracted by that. Just there's just something not right there. And so there's a whole science to it. And it's really, really fun to know it and to teach it and share. And everyone I've worked with has always gotten pretty excited, and some people can take it to a really deep level of understanding, or, sometimes just getting in someone's closet for a couple of hours, I can show you your inherent ability to know what's exactly right for you and really affirm your inherent beauty and abilities. It's such a fun thing for me to do.
So you talk about vibrations then. So the first step then is to really do some deep diving into figuring out that vibration, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you do that? Is that just like an intuition kind of a thing, or are there processes that you take people through?
Yes, both, all.
Yeah.
There, I do, of course, have some questionnaires which are super fun and actually artistic that help people really start to see with their eyes what their vibration is by what they just for a quick example, uh, one of the things that we do is pick 3 to 6 of your favorite pictures in nature, architecture, animals, flowers, and there will be a common thread in those pictures. And you may not see it
Hmm.
at first, but I can help you see it. And that tells me a lot about your vibration. And then I can help show you through these pictures and through other examples what you're vibrating. And then to answer your next question, we all can be raising our vibration. And we can raise our vibration with our thoughts, with crystals, with oils, with flower essences, things like that.
That's awesome. So it's similar to what we do at the Proof, but we look at stories and we look at events to kind of find a through line. And you're looking at pictures and colors and what's that's beautiful. I've never heard anybody do that. That's awesome.
It's very exciting work. And my mentor, Carla Mathis, is, the one that gets the credit. It wasn't my idea, but
Mhm.
boy, when she taught it to me, I was like, wow, this is fantastic. And when
Yeah.
I went through my proof process with you, Dan, it was revealing.
Yeah.
I went through a 6-week process going through your work. It was very exceptional.
Thank you. We talked about purpose. Um, what is what's a gift, right? So to me, it's like we all have a purpose, yes. But if we were to leave like right now, and we could just give the world a gift, what would your gift be?
Number one, you are the gift. And a lot of us have to accept that. Would you agree that we are just being here, we are the gift. Who we are is the number one gift.
Nice. Yeah.
Gifts that we have to uncover many, many times. That we talk about gifts and talents. Like, my sisters are incredibly musically talented, but one in particular sister, because we're short on time, or I would talk about both, but one sister that lives near me, her gifts and talents, her gift, of course, of being who she is, and her ability to teach is a gift. And so she has spent her life purpose in teaching children and actually their parents music and how to sew and how to connect. So really what she's doing is teaching vibration and connection.
Mm.
And then the one thing I wanted to add to all of that is we also have a mission, or our divine intent.
Hmm.
And that, what's so cool about that is that there can be tens of thousands or millions of people that have the same mission. So what's really fun is, as you uncover who you are and you start illuminating yourself through your open heart, taking down those walls, opening that heart, you start attracting people with the same mission. Like, clearly you and Stacy and Vince and I have the same mission. I mean,
Right.
there's no doubt we have the same mission. And how fantastic that we found each other, because we can support each other. We can, and when things are like sad or down, we can call each other and say, hey, and you guys understand, right?
Right. Yeah.
But we can work together, and we can um, create groups or support communities where we find more of our same mission family, you might say.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, you obviously work with your husband, Vince.
Yes.
Um, is there anything, you have an event coming up? I know that for sure in
Because you'll
November.
be there.
Yes, I'll be there. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about the event and what we can expect and how cool it's going to be?
Okay, it's 3 days. San Diego, great weather. Who doesn't want to go to San Diego?
Right.
November 1 through 3, this year, 2019. And it's really going to be neat because it's about spirituality and quantum physics. So you don't have to go read 15 books on quantum physics or whatever. Vince, especially, he is the amazing teacher, program developer, has put together 3 experiential days of blending or bridging spirituality and quantum physics, and discovering through those exercises what you're made of, why you are here, what is your path. Very exciting work. He's doing some very deep coaching right now with some people that will be at the event and speaking about their experiences in this work. And it is so exciting because I'm getting to chat with them in the meantime in preparation for the event, and their lives are changing. And
Mm.
it's tangible. That's what's so cool about it. It's tangible.
So for those who think or believe that they are already on track with their purpose, is this event strictly just to uncover, or is it more than that?
What I think a lot of us don't know is that, yes, we are always on our path, and our purpose expands as we expand.
Mm.
So there's always uncovering, always discovering, and expansion. And we all want expansion. We
Mm.
want to grow, we want to expand. So this event and any follow-on events and work are just like we're experiencing ourselves, even on this phone call, that every time that we are digging deeper and uncovering we are expanding, expanding, and our purpose is expanding.
Right.
So it's a never ending process until we say goodbye to
Yeah.
Earth.
Fantastic. So, can you share with us where people can find more information on this event?
Oh, please, imaginemiracles.com.
Okay.
We have the event page right up front with the regular website menu on top. So it's super simple to get right on the website.
Fantastic. And are you going to show and teach us a little bit about being able to align the way that we show others physically, our vibrations through clothing and accessories and whatnot?
Yes, I will have some time allotted where I will do that. And that should be so much fun.
Yeah, that's, I mean, people don't really think about it. You know, it's like you think of clothing as a form of self-expression for some. For me, I wear the same thing every day because I don't want to think about it.
That's fine.
But just having that insight, you know, having a little bit of you know, backing of like, hey, you know, my vibration is X, and for me to come across and not give the wrong impression or jump right to you know, what matters most, you know, the following colors or the following accessories may accelerate that. You know, I don't think a lot of people think about that.
No,
So I'm
yeah.
looking forward to learning more.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I am looking forward to sharing that with all of you. And I am so looking forward to you and Stacy being on the stage too. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, we're super excited. We, you know, the work at the Proof is really about, and the first thing is really diving in, you know, just like we discussed, is looking for that through line, not necessarily through pictures, but through events and stories within your life. We believe that everything that happens to you, relationships, your parents, are all little puzzle pieces that create a bigger image. And so the work here is, you know, what image have you created or are you creating? And you can't really hide from that. And you can try and hide from it, but you always are going to be drawn back to it. And then once we have a picture of what that looks like, you know, your greater purpose, your highest calling, quantum self, you know, there's a lot of different variations to describe it. We kind of tell the story of why, you know, why am I this person that is qualified to do this work, you know, this picture of the puzzle. Well, the why is basically, well, look at all the puzzle pieces, right? All these puzzle pieces have been building and growing to make me who I am, and therefore I am the most unique, best person at doing X. So it's fantastic work, because at the end of the day, you end up with a 3-minute video, a proof talk that talks just about your why and what makes you tick. And it's an ability for you to very, very quickly build that visceral emotional connection with your audience without coming across as, hey, I'm trying to sell you something. This is just strictly like an emotional connection, like a visceral thing. So, you know, to me, it's like I wish everybody would have a proof talk. And as you say, you dress to show the correct vibration on who you are. And instead of handing somebody a business card, you know, watch this 3-minute talk where I'm vulnerable and I share with you what makes me who I am, right? So there's still a lot of work to be done, and thank goodness for partnerships like what we have, where we can lock hands or arms together and continue this movement of shining inside each one of our individual gifts. And what's crazy is that if everybody were allowed to shine their gift, and if everybody were accepting of other people's gifts, we'd be living in a very, very, very different world, and we freaking need it now.
Incredibly
Yeah,
true
more than
and
ever.
well said. And one of the things I wanted to add, because I'm so excited you're going to share all of this on our with us in San Diego, but what I want to share, two things about the proof. My experience and Vince's experience is it was very illuminating,
Hmm.
and it definitely brought some powerful things to the surface for me, especially that, you know, when you listen to my talk about suppression of myself,
Hmm.
uh, you know, everybody's like, yeah, yeah, what's new, but it was really new for me. It was very powerful, and I loved the process with you personally, and I loved the process that it put me in, and I loved the product. And one of the things Vince said when we got off your stage in at the proof is, man, you are the new TEDx or the new TED. You know, they're missing the boat. You talked earlier about a new paradigm. You
Yeah.
are the new paradigm. Vince and I, we are the new paradigm. And I am proud to be on that proof stage. I am
Thank
proud
you.
to be able, unlike Ted, I am proud to be able to speak about my truth and who I am, regardless of all the rules of some other platforms,
Sure.
as I was mentioning. So I really support what you and Stacey are doing. And I want to see, just like you do, I want to see everyone have a proof talk.
Yeah.
It's important.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, exciting stuff. And as you said, it's like it's not there's no end to this journey of discovery and growing your purpose, right?
Death, right?
Right, exactly. And then who knows?
Apparently, it's really fantastic.
Yeah,
So let's get there. No, I'm kidding.
good, Mary. Thank you so much for your time today, and we look forward to more conversations and definitely more um, collaboration prior to the event. And the event in November is going to be absolutely amazing. I can feel it, I can see it, I can smell it. It's going to be incredible.
It is.
So, Mary, thank you so much, and yeah, we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. It's great few minutes to spend with you.
Absolutely.